All right, so have you ever felt like someone was staring at you, even when you couldn't see them? Like, that feeling you get when you just feel like someone's watching you?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You
It's like a
feel
sixth sense almost.
it's super creepy, right?
Yeah, it is. It's definitely unsettling.
So we're going to dive deep into this whole staring thing today and see if there's actually any science behind it. Like, is it real or is it just a myth?
Right, because it's one of those things that's been around forever. Like people have always talked about it.
Yeah, like in horror movies and stuff,
Exactly. But now scientists are actually starting to investigate it.
which is pretty cool. So to kick things off, let's talk about the classic staring experiment.
Okay.
So picture this. You're blindfolded, sitting in a room, and there's someone behind you.
All right.
Sometimes they're staring right at the back of your head, and sometimes they're looking away.
Okay.
And your job is to guess when they're staring at you. Yeah, so researchers have done tons of these experiments, and what's crazy is that people consistently guess correctly more than you'd expect if it were just random chance.
Really?
Yeah, like we're talking about 55% accuracy.
Huh. So it's not like they're getting it right every time,
Yeah.
but it's still statistically significant.
Exactly. It's like there's something going on there that we don't quite understand.
That's wild. So what do scientists think is happening? Like, how could we possibly sense someone staring at us without seeing them?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some researchers think it might be some kind of leftover survival mechanism from way back when, like being able to sense danger even when you can't see it could have been pretty handy for our ancestors.
Oh, that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
a predator stalking you from behind.
Exactly. But even then, it's still pretty mysterious. Like, are we sending out some kind of invisible signal or something?
Right. Like, how are they picking up on it?
It's a real head scratcher.
So how do scientists actually study this? Like, besides, blindfolds and staring contests, is there a way for, like, regular people to try this out?
Actually, there is. There's this really cool app that lets you test this out yourself.
An app? Seriously?
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It uses two phones, one for the person who's staring and one for the person trying to sense it.
Oh, so you, like, connect the phone somehow?
Yeah, exactly. And it walks you through the whole experiment. It's a fun way to see if you have like a sixth sense for staring.
I'm definitely going to have to check that out. What's the app called?
We'll put a link to it in the show notes.
Awesome.
But here's the thing that's even crazier, that people who use the app regularly actually get better at sensing stares over time.
Wow. So it's like a skill you can actually practice.
Exactly. It's like learning to juggle or play the piano.
That's really interesting.
Mm.
Makes you wonder what else we could train our brains to do.
Right. Like what other hidden abilities are we just not tapping into?
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
So this isn't just some parlor trick then. There are actual real-world applications for this kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. There are professionals in fields like surveillance security and law enforcement who actually claim to use this ability in their work.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Apparently, they say that intense focus, like staring at someone's back, can actually tip someone off that they're being watched.
So like if I'm feeling paranoid and like someone's watching me, maybe it's not just my imagination.
It's certainly possible. And here's a really interesting example. Did you know about the British SS?
Oh yeah, those guys are like the ultimate special forces, right?
Exactly. Well, during their training, they actually teach recruits not to stare at a target's back when they're trying to sneak up on them,
Wait, really? Why?
because they believe it might actually alert the target to their presence.
Oh, wow. So they actually take this stuff seriously.
Yeah, it's not just some superstition for them.
Yeah.
It's like a tactical consideration.
That's pretty compelling evidence that there might be something to this whole staring thing.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think.
But here's the thing that bugs me. How does this all square with what we know about the brain?
Right, like scientifically speaking, how is this even possible?
Exactly, because the prevailing view in science is that all our thoughts, feelings, and perceptions are produced by physical processes in the brain.
Yeah. So how could you feel a stare without any signals reaching your brain through your eyes or ears?
It's like a total mystery.
It is. It's like a puzzle piece that doesn't quite fit.
And because of that, some scientists are super skeptical about this whole staring phenomenon.
Which makes sense. I mean, it does sound pretty far out there.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that skepticism has made it harder to get funding and support for research in this area.
Oh, that's a shame.
Think-
Because it would be really cool to figure out what's going on.
I know, right? It's like we're trying to solve a mystery here, but we're missing some of the clues.
Yeah, but maybe that's what makes it so intriguing.
Exactly. It's like one of those great scientific enigmas that just keeps us guessing.
And the best part is, you don't need a PhD to explore this phenomenon.
Oh, yeah. What do you mean?
Well, you could grab a friend, try that app we talked about, or even just pay attention to how people react when you stare at them from a distance.
That's actually a really good idea.
Maybe you'll notice some patterns that haven't been documented yet.
It's like we're all citizen scientists.
Exactly. We can all contribute to unraveling this mystery.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
So what do you say? Are you ready to join the investigation?
I'm in. Let's do it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's dive deeper into the world of staring and see what other secrets we can uncover.
I'm excited to see where this takes us.
Me too. So stick around because we're just getting started on this deep dive into the fascinating and sometimes creepy world of staring.
It's going to be a wild ride. It's really fascinating how, something as simple as like staring can open up all these questions about, our minds and how we like interact with the world.
Yeah, it's like we're diving into this deep, dark ocean of the unknown and like who knows what we'll find down there.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And speaking of diving deeper, let's go back to those real world applications we were talking about. So we talked about surveillance and security, but there are also some really interesting connections to martial arts. Have you ever heard about that?
Oh, yeah. Like those stories about martial arts masters who can like sense an attack before it even happens.
Yeah, exactly. Like, is that somehow connected to this staring phenomenon?
It's like they have a sixth sense or something.
Right. And it's hard to say for sure, but it's definitely an intriguing possibility. If we can pick up on someone's gaze without even seeing them, it makes you wonder if we might also be attuned to other subtle cues that signal danger.
Like what kind of cues?
What could be anything, really?
Yeah.
Like subtle shifts in body language, changes in someone's energy, or even like, micro expressions that we're not consciously aware of.
So maybe those martial arts masters aren't just like mystical figures with superpowers. Maybe
Yeah.
they've just trained themselves to be super aware of their surroundings.
Exactly. Like they've honed their senses to pick up on those subtle signals that most of us miss.
That's pretty cool. I mean, it makes sense when you think about it.
And it brings us back to that idea of practice that we were talking about earlier.
Hmm.
Just like any skill awareness can be developed and improved over time.
So you're saying that even if we're not like naturally gifted with this ability to sense stares, we can still learn to be more aware of our surroundings.
Absolutely. Whether it's through formal training like meditation or martial arts, or just by consciously paying attention to the world around you, you can definitely cultivate a greater sensitivity to those subtle cues.
So it's like we're all kind of like sleeping giants in a way.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
It's like we have all this potential locked away inside of us, and we just need to find the key to unlock it.
Man, this is blowing my mind. It's like, what if we're all just scratching the surface of what our minds are truly capable of?
Right. And this whole staring phenomenon is like a glimpse into that hidden potential.
Okay, so we've gone from like simple staring experiments to talking about martial arts masters and like unlocking the hidden potential of our minds.
I know, right? It's been quite a journey.
So where do we even go from here? Like, what's the takeaway from all of this?
Well, I think the most important thing is that this possibility of sensing stares, while still being debated, is definitely worth exploring further. The evidence might not be conclusive, but it's compelling enough to warrant more investigation.
It's like we've stumbled upon one of those great scientific mysteries and we're just starting to piece together the clues.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe one day we'll look back on this as like a turning point in our understanding of consciousness and the human mind.
It's like, imagine if all this time we've been walking around with these incredible abilities and we were just totally oblivious to them.
And the craziest part is we're just talking about staring. Imagine what other amazing things our minds might be capable of that we haven't even discovered yet.
Okay, now you're really freaking me out.
Yeah,
But in a good way. Like, this
Yeah.
is seriously mind-blowing stuff.
it is. And, I want to leave our listener with one final thought-provoking question to ponder.
Ooh, I love these thought-provoking questions. Okay, hit me with it. Okay, I'm ready. Lay it on me. What's this mind-blowing question?
Well, if we can, detect stares, even without seeing or hearing the person staring at us, what might this tell us about, like, the interconnectedness of minds?
Okay.
Could there be some, subtle way in which our consciousnesses interact that we haven't, like, fully grasped yet?
Whoa. That's deep. It's like, are we all connected on some level that we just don't even realize?
Yeah, it's a possibility. And, it's something to think about as you go about your day. Maybe pay a little more attention to those feelings you get, when you think someone might be watching you.
I definitely will. I'm never going to look at a crowded street the same way again.
Right. It's like a whole new layer of reality to consider.
Totally. So what's the next step then? Like, how do we actually explore this interconnectedness idea?
Well, I think the first step is to just acknowledge the possibility. you know. Keep an open mind. Don't dismiss those intuitive feelings you get.
Okay, so stay open-minded. Got it.
And then maybe try some experiments of your own,
Mm,
you know. See if you can replicate some of the findings we talked about.
I'm definitely going to try that app we mentioned.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great place to start. And, who knows? Maybe someday science will catch up and give us some more concrete answers about all of this.
It's like we're pioneers exploring uncharted territory.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so exciting. We're pushing the boundaries of what we know about ourselves and the universe.
Man, this whole deep dive has been incredible. Thank you so much for sharing all this amazing information with us.
It's been my pleasure.
Yeah,
I love talking about this stuff. It's so fascinating.
can tell. And hey, maybe we'll have to do another deep dive sometime and explore some other mind-blowing mysteries.
I'd be down for that.
Awesome. Well, for now, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of staring.
But hopefully this is just the beginning of your own exploration.
That's right. So to our listeners out there, keep those minds open,
Mm.
stay curious, and maybe you'll discover some incredible things about yourselves and the world around you.
You never know what you might find.
That's it for this episode of The Deep Dive. We'll catch you next time with another fascinating topic that's sure to make you think. Until then, stay curious,